We're glad you're joining us tonight. I am John Mark, and this is Wayne Weaver. And we're glad to be back with you. We had a beautiful seminar last week, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight and get down to some things that you didn't get finished sharing at the seminar. It was a business seminar. We talked a little bit about that, promoted it last week. Friday, then we ended up having the seminar. It was a great time.
Really was.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It was a good time. We had over 100 people that were part of that, and then if you add in the volunteers and things that were helping out, we had a really nice group, and just a good time, good food, but good sessions. I was actually it was quite interesting. We started out with that session on how to solve your people puzzles. And it was just interesting to see the upset the fruit basket as everybody went to all the corners and
that was really
heard
good.
a lot of talking about that in the week following. People have been that really impacted them. Kind of looking at where they were and just that visual.
Yeah.
Where they fit. Yeah.
That was really good.
So
Thanks, Mike.
Yes. Exactly. Mike Killen did a great job.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the seminar?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard. I just really enjoyed the whole event. I really did. I was like the next day. I was like, oh wow, this is so nice. One of the reasons is because I didn't run into people with personal problems. You know what I mean? And pull you aside. To the side of the corner and, hey, I've got this going, what can you help me with? And it was more of a thing. I didn't have to be pastoral,
Right.
I was just business me, and which I enjoy that side of life tremendously or immensely, as well as the other, but the one has more weight than the other,
Yeah.
Like I always say, business is easy.
And there's something about business that sometimes feels hopeful because that there's a way through these things, whereas sometimes you have to deal with, do people actually even want to get over what they're dealing with? Do they have, but when they come in business, they're usually, they've got a little will to get through. And
also in spiritual things, people have deep-seated problems often or don't know why they're facing certain struggles. But when you go to work, you clock in, you clock out, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. You know what to do. You have your job, you have your task, and it's much easier. Yeah, you have your personalities to deal with, but that's not major. But you have that in church, then it's major. So, no, I really enjoyed it. I was all for it. And one of the things that really stood out to me, and some people that talked to me about it afterwards said that what they really appreciated is these were actual business people. It was not, coaches, business coaches, and I've always had the problem with business coaches because they've never really run big companies, typically not, or even any companies. And so it's theory, and theory doesn't go very far in my book. It just doesn't. I'm not that type of person. I like down to earth, exactly this is how it is.
Well, and I think this was less about marketing, although we did have a session on marketing.
It was
that
very
was
good.
very good. Yeah. Jim Competi did a fine job on that. It was excellent. A lot of really great tips and things and stories. He's a great storyteller.
He's something else.
But as we go through the podcast tonight, we want to talk about business nuggets that have been mined over time.
Yeah.
And so I would like to just remind you, if you're joining us, to please, if you like this content, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these things. And if you really have a question or a comment, would like to share with us, you can send those comments to library@oasistabernacle.org. And let's get started.
Yes.
All right. So Proverbs 3, 5, and 7 says this: trust in the Lord, 5 through 7, I'm sorry, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Now, there is another verse that follows right on the heels of that, verse 7. We often stop at 3, 5, and 6, but I think verse 7 is very important. If there's one thing that I am learning in life, and not so much just in business, but in life, in life in general, is do not be wise in your own eyes. Yeah. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. There's some good wisdom in that.
It is.
So
it works.
It works. It works indeed.
Sure does.
Now, these are some verses that you have used over the years. I'm going to read a couple more here just to set this, because we'll refer to some of these as we go along. Proverbs 16:3, commit your works to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established. Psalm 37:5, commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Amen.
And then Romans 12:3, which actually kind of comes back to Proverbs 3:7, but 12:3 says, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. All right. So why don't we leave it right there for now and go to some of these. When we were looking at that business seminar, the Weaver Group did a fine job. I mean, we had
short.
It was short, but it was a little bit like you've talked about over the years. If you want to leave people with just a taste. Now it felt like we just got a sample.
Yeah,
we wanted the whole bowl of ice cream or the whole cup of coffee. We got just a sample. Wallhouse ice cream, absolutely. Yeah. Don't forget that. Yeah. And even the seasonal flavors are wonderful. But as we were looking at that, you were talking about, you came up with some quotes and some things that you have written down over the years, and we ran out of time.
Yeah,
and it was really too bad, because I think there were a lot of people hanging on to those and wanting to hear more of those, and so we thought that for tonight's podcast, it would be good to go back and look at some of these truths or observations and principles that you have jotted down over the years in business. I think these would be very helpful for people. And so this wasn't your idea. I asked if you would bring this on, and I really appreciate you doing that, because I think these are so good. I heard a number of people after the seminar saying, well, I wish Pastor Wayne could have talked longer. We wanted to hear more of what he had written down. And so tonight, I want to just take the time to do that. We'll look at some other scriptures as we go along, perhaps, but I think it's important for people to understand that in business, Wayne, you have incorporated your faith. That's been the bedrock of all of these decisions that you have made. So even though some of these quips and quotes are going to be in here as observations, they're very firmly intermeshed with faith and really the revelations that are even brought by the Holy Spirit into business.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how to go about this. Do I just want you to start reading some of these and talking about them? I think it would actually be good. We've got enough time that if you keep moving through, we could get through a lot of them. And so I'm going to ask you to just start sharing some of the wisdom, and if I might interrupt and ask some questions.
Sure, absolutely, do that.
Go right ahead.
So what I have here is I have several files actually in my computer that when I'm driving and there's a certain thought that I get, then I try to condense the thought so that it's a shorter sentence. And I'd like to take my 100-word thought and condense it down to maybe 2 words. And that's rarely possible. However, and that's what I have written down here. And sometimes in meetings that I have and just some fun stuff that I put in here, that I just wrote this down. And so the file says, True Thoughts of My Journey to Success. And these are just things that have happened to me. I have struggled a lot with a lot of these business seminars that people just have quips and quotes and they just copy someone else's smart alecky remark. And I was kind of surprised when it was up to me to come up with something that I'm finding, well, that's kind of what I have. That's what I'm doing, because it's kind of like this. So what made you, so for instance, the first verse you have, in all thy ways acknowledge him, he will direct your path. I know right when that verse was spoken to me, I was driving up in Canton, across the railroad tracks there by Stark Truss. And I was going through some decisions that I had to make, and I was just, I'm not sure which way to go. Should I do this or should I do this? And it was major decisions, not just small stuff. And it was like, and all at once I come to the railroad crossing, and there Stark Truss has a sign, and that's what's on the sign. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And I thought, look at that, that's my answer. And from that point on, that verse just became part of me in my life and lifestyle. That in all thy ways acknowledge him, he will direct your path. So I knew that if I acknowledge him, he will direct. But if I don't acknowledge him, he can't direct. So I have this faith and trust that if I acknowledge him, you are God. I acknowledge that you are God. I acknowledge that you are my God. You are the God of the universe. You are the creator of the world. I acknowledge you. And in that thinking pattern, he will also direct my path. And I found that in much of my success, in whatever capacity you want to call it, spiritual, whatever it is, I found that the way that verse ministered to me is the way that I found all my successes to develop and to transpire. See, the word success, what is success? People, I ask you, so are you successful? Well, successful means you succeed. So what are you succeeding in? And that's what makes you successful. Whether it's in planting potatoes, you got done planting potatoes, you succeeded doing it. That was a successful thing. But in business, the same way. So anytime we think of successful, we think of succeeding. All right?
Right.
So, in all thy ways acknowledge him, he will direct your path. So I knew now I have a director. And I acknowledge him freely and openly. I acknowledge him freely and openly. And so automatically that puts me in a category where he can be my director. And I just trusted in that. It was nothing really more defined and mechanical. It was just simply that. Mm-hmm. In all thy ways acknowledge him. In all my ways, everything I do, I acknowledge my God. I acknowledge my God in my going out and my coming back. In everything I do, I acknowledge God. I don't hide that. And he'll direct. He'll become my director.
And there's another verse that you have used quite frequently, and that's Proverbs 16:3, that commit thy works unto the Lord.
I was
and your thoughts will be established.
Yeah. And so I simply saw that if I commit my works, so what are my works? Okay, my works is this needs to be done today. We need to make decisions on this and that and that. This needs to be done. Well, those are, commit your works. Okay, so I commit all that to you, Lord. Now I will sit back here and trust that you will establish my thoughts. Mm-hmm. You will change my thinking patterns to what you want them to be.
So in practicality, committing your works to the Lord. Now, you didn't. You committed them to him. Mm-hmm. You trusting him to direct your thoughts. Mm-hmm. But what did you do?
Well, okay, so you want practical things? Okay, I can tell you of business decisions I made. Large business decisions, I'm not sure. I hear this is what management is leaning towards, but I'm not sure this is what I want. All right? And one of them is the latest buildings that I built. Were just completed. And it was not a building that I felt I wanted. And it was like I wanted the building this way and that way and so forth. And so my thing was, well, all right, Lord, management thought they want a building specific, all right? And I just felt, build a building, make it big enough, all right? They had they were thinking much better than I was. I was not concerned about the good thinking. I just, okay, build a building. And I remember saying, well, Lord, I will commit this to you. And now you have to, because I'm the ultimate yes or no. I would ask that you would now, of course, I will trust. I commit this to you, my works of building this building in the way it should be and shall be. I commit that to you. Now I pray and ask that you would change my thinking, establish my thoughts. If I lean this way, make me lean this way if this is what you want. Mm-hmm. This we trust.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so in that approach, I did. I just went forward with that. And I leaned and completely changed my mind what I wanted and went with what they were suggesting. today that building stands there and is absolutely the perfect model of what they want, and it's really what we need in every way, practical way that you can make it. It's exactly what we need. And my son actually came to me and he said that there was a big price break that happened in one of the wood commodities, and we were able to buy a couple train car loads because of that building. And then he told me how much money he saved on that.
Paid for the building.
No, it didn't pay for the building. No, but it certainly, it was very significant, the money that was saved, because he could say yes, because we had storage room at the right time.
Right.
If we wouldn't have had that building, there's no way we could have it. So now you keep adding that up down through the years. Okay? And so it's just like, all right, the Lord changed my mind on it. Many times that I can say that, because it's something that we all have a form of a bias. We lean this way or we lean that way. I know when I say the word, Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, right now people have their...
Yeah, they're already divided. Yep.
Yeah, they're already, like the folding of the hands. One arm's out over the other one. Next one goes like this. It's not comfortable. Everyone has their... And when you commit your works to the Lord, He will establish your thoughts. And in that, I just have full confidence, and it helps me a lot in making my decisions, that this is now what God has established in my thought pattern, that this is what He wants, and I'll just say yes to it.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
And I think it's comforting, really, in the scheme of things, when you've got big decisions and you're not sure which way to go.
It's a way to exercise faith.
Yes.
Really is. It really is. And so it's done by faith.
And a lot of business is done by faith.
And failure.
Yeah. Most people wouldn't. It's faith in something. We either believe that the conditions are going to remain good for business, or we wouldn't launch out. Nobody would launch out fully anticipating to fail. We launch out with the faith that we're going to succeed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would go to number 2 here if you want to start with anything.
Well, let's do it.
There's some crazy stuff I have in number 1.
Some things that you're willing to do, whatever it takes. Okay.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make something work. And then I just put some things, I will lose my shirt if I have to. And I find that to be part of a success pattern. Do whatever you need to make it work. If you lose your shirt in it, well, all right, you tried. But there's a lot of people that would not risk anything because they fear the outcome. Right. No, you will never go very far if you've never risked anything more than a dollar bill in your pocket. I will take great risk if I need to. I will work day and night without a shower if I can accomplish it. It's like some people say, well, I just can't anymore. Oh, well, really, that's not part of it. You just do it. You do it. If it takes a day and a night and a day and a night to complete that job, then get it done. And these are just some thoughts and things that I have not come up with. Yeah. I've experienced
You've experienced those.
I will reach into another pocket to grab the energy necessary to achieve. I'm up against the wall. I don't know which way to go. I can't. And my sons and my daughters can all tell you that don't ever use that word in front of me. Dad, I can't. What do you mean you can't? They can go to the moon, Yes, you can, absolutely. And if you believe you can't, you won't. But if you believe you can, you will. It's kind of the way it is. I'm never led by competition. I do like competition.
You do?
I do not like competition.
No, that's an interesting one. Some people claim they enjoy competition.
No, I don't really like competition. Well, it's there. Okay, but I won't. I like ice cream. But do I like competition the same way? No. I don't really like competition, but I've learned how to deal with it. And that is to let it not bother me. Mm-hmm. It does not inspire me. Competition doesn't inspire me. When I see they're doing something, it doesn't inspire me to now go and do the same thing. That has never worked in me like that. They're actually a distraction.
Does it ever inspire you to do better?
What inspires me to do better is to be the best I can be. Mm-hmm. That's what inspires me.
So you in essence compete with yourself in a sense.
I do, like golf. Yeah. One thing that would be good to mention in that is, as far as competition is a distraction, what I often see in this thing of competition, I was frustrated in the early years because it seemed that anything I designed or did, competition picked up on it and they did it. And it was like, at least I like to have it on the market for at least a year or 2 years before someone copies it. And it was just frustrating to me. Why do they do that? And all at once it's like, well, I mean, put 1 and 2 together. If you're concerned about competition, them copying you, you should be concerned if they don't. Because if they don't copy you, it means you have nothing. You really don't have anything. And so all at once I saw that when they copy and try to copy, they're giving me a thumbs up.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, what do they say? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if they're copying what you're doing, they're...
And this is what I find. If you're a common person, I don't know that I have this in a nugget, but it's probably somewhere written. I've written it somewhere, certainly. But if you like something and you're a normal person, unless you're a crazy, unnormal person, but if you're a normal person, if you like something, there's a good chance 80% of the people also like it. On that, you can design stuff. Yeah.
That's true. Now, I have seen some designs that people supposedly like that I must be not normal. But
no, I'm saying, if you're a normal person, if you're a normal, well-rounded person, not this way, well-rounded person up here.
Yes.
But there's a very good chance, and it's just learned me to have some confidence that there's a good chance you're not way out on left field or whatever. But if
others are going to enjoy it as well,
they will like it too. You'll have a majority of people liking it. Now, when you listen to that, I've always felt quite good about if I do something, as it turns out at the end, it always turns out to be better and nicer than I thought it would be when I was doing it. That is a pleasant surprise to me that I'm actually able to perform better than what even my thoughts were of the outcome in the looks or design of something. And in that, what does it do? It builds confidence. So if this is your idea, you're not crazy, this is good, okay, just promote that idea or implement it, and you will probably be surprised it'll be much better than what you really think it will be. And pretty much every time it's worked that way. I think almost every time. So that builds confidence in when you have a dream. Yeah, just look at that dream and it'll probably start developing that, and it probably will be better than what you even think it will be. And that is based on what other people say. If competition is my eyesight, you will follow them defiantly. If that's what you're looking at, if you can only look at competition, you will start following them because you're watching them, but you'll do it defiantly. You don't like it? Now they've done that again, and you think you have to as well. What I'm seeing in this whole thing, defiance is never a guiding principle. It is a grand entrance of a losing battle I have down here. Enduring tiredness. Endure tiredness. That's another sentence. But here's what I'm seeing is a guiding principle. Defiance is never a guiding principle. You cannot make decisions on defiance or rebellion. If you do, you're always at the odds with something. And I've learned that if you're at the odds with something, it's much more dangerous than if you're compatible with something. Just make it a little bit better.
Well, and being at odds with something, you're going to naturally tend to be just a little bullheaded about it too, right?
Yeah, and then you'll make mistakes.
Yeah.
And this is why I often talk about, and I started talking about that in the seminar, the underpinnings. The underpinnings. I would have so much to give on that. The underpinnings.
Well, it's nice that we have more of these. That we have more of these podcasts coming up, so we can do that.
Well, the underpinnings, and this is the way I look at it. And I have some thoughts written on one of these pages. But here's the underpinnings of something. In order to succeed, all right, you cannot have certain thoughts. Negativism. If you're always negative, that will never get you anywhere except in the ditch. There's something about a ditch or a pit that kind of describes a negative attitude. Yeah? But when you talk mountaintop, you're not describing negative. You're seeing, you have vision, you're seeing higher, you're seeing better, you're seeing clearer. But when you're negative, you're always in a pit, you're always down. And
now,
you
one
just
thing that I've
suppress
noticed,
yourself.
one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people who I would term as being negative will fire back that I'm just being a realist. So if we're talking to people who consider themselves realists, what is the negative? Being...
Well, I understand realism too. I'm a realist, but I'm not negative. I'm a realist. I don't like artificial stuff. I like the real deal. I like the real. Don't try to sell me on something that's not proven. It's just, don't give your big story if you haven't lived it.
Right.
It's just, no, I don't go there. That's not my life. That's why I struggle with business coaches. Oh, they have the dramatic scenes and they make everyone feel good. Hey, sir, what's your experience? Let's talk experience. That's where the weight, the balance is at. You can say something 1,000 times if you have no weight in it or no skin in the game, all right? It kind of falls and washes off your head. But I always say that experience is like money in a checking account. You can write out a check and it will not bounce if you have experience. But if you have no experience and talk about it, that you're a pro at it, write a check to that, it'll always bounce to prove what you just said. And this is why I like this type of a business seminar. We have proof of that. I have walked there. I have felt that way. I have been tempted that way. I have struggled that way. I ran into ditches that way, and I've learned things, not from a book, but from experience. That to me it's just the difference between a heavyweight and lightweight, and let's get back to this.
Yeah, well, so the negativity.
The underpinnings. So what I say then is defiance is never a guiding principle. So if you are in defiance of your competition making decisions, that tells me that mindset will also have a whole list of other things in their mindset. And that is a key to failure. If you cannot get this one right, you will have 30 things here that are completely not right. All right? So my thing is get this right. And then what you're dealing with is not your competition. You will actually become a leader if you have this right. And this is the underpinnings or the undercarriage or the foundation, of good. Yeah. And that's really important. So when I hear people talk, they make a certain statement and I see right where they're at. Say, oh, is that the way you think? I know that there's going to be some stop signs up ahead and you're going to run some red lights because you've not learned, because I can hear what is in your underpinning. I know what your character is suggesting, and you're not prepared for that. You might have this dream, this great dream. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And you launch out and go for it. But if your underpinnings aren't right, you will fail. The success, the key to not failure is to have your underpinnings or your undercarriage or your foundation correct.
Somebody ought to design a questionnaire that would help people to determine
what those their
prime values are.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. But if you're struggling with covetousness or envy or jealousy when it comes to competition or even anyone, you're headed for trouble. You just are, because you're going to make some decisions based on that.
Those are some really bad motivations for actions.
And you'll get yourself in trouble because you make certain decisions or don't make certain decisions because of that. That's just stuff that has to be solved in your foundation.
Wow. Now, a lot of people will be stymied by their competition. But I see here under number 3, you said, I thrive on things that cannot be done.
Yeah, I do.
All right. So there are people that find their competition always getting in the way. But you're saying that shouldn't be. And in fact, I look at things that can't be done or people say can't be done. And I think they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a solution to this.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got some things written about.
Yeah, I have this phrase, they can go to the moon and I can't do that. Can't figure this out. Come on. It's not that complicated. Get her done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I thrive on things that cannot be done. Really, I was told, and I think in one of your questions that you have on here, what do we say? Let me see, with the naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
You can never do that. Oh, that'll never work. Oh my goodness. Yeah, those are just like thistle plants where you're walking. That's all. You just kick it over and keep on going. If you cannot handle a thistle plant, then you probably should not be walking in a thistle field, because you will have, if you really want to go somewhere in life that way, spiritual or anything, there will be obstacles, and you simply have to learn to deal with them. Some of these obstacles are very, very huge, but what I'm speaking about here is more small stuff that people stumble over.
Mm-hmm.
If all you want is an easy task, then always go the easy route. All right? That's just the way. That's not the way I did it. I didn't go the easy route. I didn't choose the easy route. I chose the correct route. But a lot of people, I don't want to go that route because it's too hard. All right, then go the easy route. But you really never gain a whole lot if you do that. Stay on the easy route, the easy road, and all is easy. But you'll have a problem.
So is there ever a time that the right road is somewhat easy?
What I find, for me, the right road, you correct yourself on the right road. It's not that it's easy. From a business perspective, making money is hard. It's not easy.
But is it enjoyable? Some people, when they hear hard, it's like drudgery.
It all depends if you like hard.
Mm-hmm.
I like hard. I like hard things. Like I said, things that are not possible, things that are not easy, I thrive on that. It's probably some of my roots. But if you listen to business people, they'll agree with that. They don't go the easy route. They go the correct route. And the correct route is, it can be done, but it's not easy. And the other thing that I try to do is change things on this road to make it easier. But that can be hard. Mm-hmm. That's fine. That's fine. Well,
I think one of the presenters, I think maybe it was Matt, that was talking about the fact that most businesses are set up to deal with problems. Almost all business.
That's it. That's pretty much
products.
It.
Everything else is set up to deal with problems. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're talking business and you want the easy route, business may not be.
No, it might not be.
Yeah.
No, in fact, one of the people that sat here at the seminar found it interesting. He said it wasn't too far in. I saw that I'm not interested in business. This is not my cup of tea, and that's fine. That's fine. Not everyone is shaped for that, and he saw that very clearly. This is not. I would rather go to work in the morning and go home in the evening and let my bosses or whatever carry that load. I can go home, put my feet up, and he said that's what he found. And a lot of employees are like that. That's fine. There is nothing wrong with that. But then don't try to also say that how should I say? You desire the life that someone has that has gone the rough and tougher routes, and don't look at that and look yourself as a failure. You cannot look at that as yourself as a failure. You're just not walking the same path.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. There's no problem with that. No, I just chose not to walk that path. I wanted something that will ultimately take me somewhere if I can endure. And it took a tremendous amount of endurance. I do not fear, nor am I led by it. That's a big mouthful. If you fear, you're probably going to be led by it. And led by it means I'm just not going to go there because I fear it. That's being led by it. So you have to look at it deeper. But what I'll come back to this fundamental underpinnings of structure, that when that is in your motivating or demotivating factor is fear. You're ruled by fear a lot. Well, if you have that, then you'll also be thinking these thoughts and these thoughts and these thoughts, and that will run you into trouble.
And fear is more of a taskmaster than a motivation. It almost drives you.
It's a motivation away from it.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Let me see. You're always motivated in things that you are good at. That's pretty much it. Find what you're good at. That should be where you're at. If you're not motivated for anything, then you're probably good for nothing. If I can say that.
Boy, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we should all have our certain motivations. The Bible speaks that we have our talents and our gifts, and those are motivations, and those are motivations that we're good at. Now, some of these motivations are not necessarily, they don't make money, they don't make a living, but you can be successful in it if that's what you want. Success is not really money. That's not really what it is. It can turn that way, but success is to succeed in what your desire is.
It's actually accomplishing something.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that is. What if it means drinking 10 bottles of water a day? If that's your goal, you're successful at it. Do it 10 times, then you're successful at it. No, there was no multiplication of money. You didn't make $1 or $2. It's not that. But we cannot look at success as just being money, money signs. No, but where have you succeeded in life? And that's where you're successful at. It might not have paid you anything, but you're successful in doing it. A fisherman, they rarely make money, but there's some really good fishermen out there. I'm using that as an example. So they're successful fishermen.
And hunters.
Yeah, hunters. And it doesn't mean at all that they're...
Doesn't mean at all that the venison is good.
No,
they just were
no.
They were
no, it won't change it won't change that.
Yes. Now, here it says that you love to dress a bit subordinary.
I do.
Now, what is subordinary?
Well, ordinary, I go just a step back. I have this little bit of a guiding principle, all right? And it's part of the foundation of me is never over, always under. So even in food processing, I won't speak a whole lot or I'll give out some food secrets that we have. But if you like vanilla, never put too much in it. Put what it fits your taste and back it off just a little bit. And there's a good chance most people will keep grasping for that vanilla because they're not getting enough.
Quite enough.
Yeah, not quite enough. So it keeps you coming back.
It's almost there.
Yeah. And that's in life as a whole, in life as general. I don't want to surprise people by being way overly dressed or so. But I can, and I do. I try to dress nice, but I always try to back down a little bit from what I think I should. And it's just, it keeps you in the ordinary, it keeps you in a comfortable place. People are not, there's some people that can just dress stunning. And that's good, but to some people, they get inferior around somebody like that. And I don't think we should be that way to where we make people inferior. I sense that at times, that when I'm around certain people or people, that someone feels a bit inferior. And it always strikes a chord in me that I don't like. No, wait a minute. Why are you inferior? Can't even look at me. No. Don't be inferior. I'm no one special. And I always try to, when I see that, I always try to undo some opinion or thought that somebody might have and try to come right down to where I need to be with them. Yeah.
The other thing about being just pulling it back a little bit means that if you need to, you have a little more you can give.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. That's very, very good, and that's part of this.
Yeah.
When you have all that you have, it's a little bit like this. Don't tell somebody everything you know, because if you really do, you don't know a whole lot. All right? Because we should not be able to say everything that we really know, because there's some words that just will not cover that. All right. If you want to see something deep, the water, calm water is always deep waters. Now, it has to stay in its perspective, but in its proper perspective. But I think this is very important. I really do. So you don't want to just, if you have 10 funny stories that you would like to share, you don't need to say all 10 of them because you'll tire people. Just say maybe one or two.
Right.
All right. You see what I'm saying? I try to follow that just as a
Well, and
homemade
what
principle.
you're saying there, it reminds me a little bit. There's a proverb, and I should have written it down, but that says, "A fool, or the fool, utters all his mind,
Yeah,
but a wise man holds some till
Yeah,
later." Or
yeah.
holds that idea.
Yeah.
And so, I guess if you want to be a fool, just go ahead and say everything you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if somebody gives his mind, you pretty much know they gave everything they had. And it's probably not a whole lot. Understand that distraction is an attraction.
All right, so we have
Are
about
we
4
done?
minutes. We have about
Okay.
4 minutes, so let's wrap it up here. Let's do the
Yeah.
distractions, and then
Okay.
we can take the next podcast on some of these others.
Okay.
But yeah,
Understand that distraction is actually a form of attraction because you're focusing on it. It bothers you. Somebody's parked in your head. Competition is parked in your head. However, it is a negative one. All right. Get understanding why you get controlled by distraction. Is it insulting your pride? Is it fear? You cannot let fear rule you. I mean, I've said that several times here. Where your eyes...
insulting your pride. Mm-hmm. That seems like it would be when we talk about envy and jealousy and some of these other things. Those often come as a result of a wounded pride. Something is...
Yeah, it is. And there's a good pride and a bad pride. When we're saying pride as a whole, we're thinking of what the Bible teaches, that we should not have pride. Well, I understand that part. But Bible also says, love your neighbor as who?
Yourself.
Oh, yourself, really. So we have a form of having or ask to love ourselves as well. And that's the type of pride I'm looking at. You don't stick your finger in a saw and think that, you have respect for that finger. So there is a form of this that is okay. But then it's the one that flaunts everything around that, I am this, and always tries to put everybody else down. That's the type of pride that's
You want to avoid, yes.
yeah, that's wrong. It's not.
You're right.
That's not good. You cannot let fear rule you. Where your eyes are focused upon, you see clearest. So, okay, so where are you focused? On your problems, or on your success? Think that one through some. So where are you looking? Why are you looking at that? Why are you focused on that? Is it because you're really good at it, or if it's something that is negative, why are you paying attention to it? In being successful, you cannot focus on things that are negative that will hurt you.
Right.
And you will see clearest where you're focused on. So you want to look at good things, you'll see clearly the value of it. Or if you want to see negative things, keep your eyes on it and it'll affect you in a negative way.
And maybe that's even a very good way of, you can say, well, what am I seeing the most clearly? That's where I'm looking. I need to maybe adjust my gaze, right? So if I'm seeing a lot of negativity, that may draw a conclusion that I am looking at negativity.
Yeah.
I'm focused there. And it may be time to shift my focus.
That's the next sentence. If you cannot see clearly, you're looking at a wrong thing. All right? You might argue with your understanding. Distractions are consuming. Don't let them consume your time. Never, ever solve problems in the night. You cannot think clear most of the time. Why? Because your mind's only half at work. The other half is about sleeping. Then you'll have these night mountains, are always like an outline of a huge defeat. Night mountains. I think we all know what night mountains look like. This huge mountain that, I don't know how I'll get through this. It's a night mountain. Your mind's not properly working. As soon as the sun comes out, that's no big deal. We can deal with that. Night mountains.
That's good. Wow. Okay,
what else do you want to talk about, John?
We are right down here to the wire on time. So let's see, how do we want to wrap this up? I think one of the things that we have, you touched on just a little bit there, was dealing with naysayers and talking even about criticism. You would have probably run into criticism from the community church, even some friends and foes along the way.
Some.
Some.
Yeah. A lot.
Let me read Isaiah 48, 17 and 18, then I'll let you finish with some comments here. So God is speaking to Israel, and he's really trying to encourage them in Isaiah 48. And thus says the Lord, this is verse 17, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord God, your God, who teaches you to profit, who leads you by the way you should go. Oh, that you had heeded my commandments. Then your peace would have been like a river, and your righteousness like the waves of the sea. Now, it's probably a little bit out of context to pull this into business, but there are some things here that I think are very key as God is dealing with Israel, and they've faced a lot of criticism. They've faced a lot of opposition, but he's saying, I'm the Lord your God who teaches you to profit, who leads you by the way you should go. Commit your works to the Lord. He will establish your thoughts.
Yeah.
So as we kind of draw this to a close, what are some things that we can take away tonight and just say, you know what, my peace should be able to flow like a river?
Well, see, most of this is mindset. Most of the things that we speak about concerning peace is mindset. It's a heart. If your mind is in turmoil, your heart will be as well. The mind is kind of the governor up here, and it speaks for what's in here. All right. As far as peace is, again, it's a mindset. And to me, is these little things that build confidence in you. Paul says, don't cast away your confidence. So there is a confidence that we need. You'll find that most people that succeed in life are confident people. Have you ever noticed that? Why do you think they're confident? Is that because they were born as babies, as confident babies? No, they've learned it somewhere in life. Somewhere they've learned, and by certain steps and missteps, they learn, don't do this again, do it this way. Don't do that again, do it this way. And they learn as they go in life. And so that built something in them with confidence. And when you have that confidence, you have peace about it. There's some decisions that I could make right now that others, many would not, they just would not be confident enough to even make that decision because they would lose their peace.
Right.
They would just not trust that, who in their mind framing that this would be the right or wrong thing. And so they avoid that. But as you go on in life and you go into greater decisions and greater things and bigger things and bigger things, there's some huge decisions you have to make at times, and you can make them with some confidence. But also the confidence is, Lord, you're establishing my thoughts, and I'm going to build on that this was you that told me a yea or a nay. This was you, and I'll follow that because you did that, and then I have peace. Now, do I ever make decisions that I don't have peace? Big decisions have a test platform of, I would say, a couple days, sometimes just overnight. Make a huge decision, and I rarely face that anymore. But I remember you have your days where you say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. It's always opposite. Or if you did, you wish you would. Or if you didn't do it, you wish you would have. So you'll always have that. You just have to understand that's part of a personality. That's how it works. As you go on in life and you establish the underpinnings of your life and your faith and so forth, those things change. And big decisions can be made with not a lot of hurdle. Small decisions can be made. And yeah, I try to exercise the same thing for big and small decisions. Commit your works into the Lord, and He will establish your thoughts. In fact, the other verse says that He will bring it about. It's amazing. It's really, really something. And you can trust the Lord with that.
Yeah. He will bring it to pass.
Yeah. As far as naysayers, you'll always have that. Remember now, we're kingdom people. So we believe in being God's children. We believe that we're part of the kingdom of God. We do. By faith, we believe that, and we are that. And so you always have the devil, and you always have the devil speak negative things, and that can come through somebody that you know and know well. But you can pick it up, and you can often find why is that person negative. And it's normally envy and jealousy. Somebody just told me, when was it? Who was it? I can't think of the name right now. Just yesterday, I believe someone said, why is it that when you start out in a venture, you'll have the gainsayers that always say, "Oh, that'll never work. That'll never work." Oh, I know who it was now. He said, "That'll never work," and it just always says, "He'll never make it," and all that. And then he said, all at once, when they saw that I'm actually really getting somewhere in life and things are really going, now they're jealous. He said, those are the people that are jealous. Well, that's why they said that to begin with, because they did not have enough gumption, faith, to go after that and to see somebody else go after something. They feel they have to strike them down. Right. All they're doing is just speaking about who they are, not who you are. You have to remember that. They rarely speak of who you are. Most of the time, they're saying who they are.
It's a reflection of who they are.
Who they are.
Wow.
So don't worry. Yeah.
Well, this is good. We could go on for hours, I think, but we will continue on with this when we come back next week, Lord willing. Actually, are we doing this next week? I didn't think
what's
about
next
that.
week? 4th of July?
I think it's the 4th of July.
Well, I don't have fireworks.
We'll have to keep you posted on that. We didn't actually talk about it and should have, but
no.
We will definitely, if we aren't on, we will have an announcement of when it will be. But we will be continuing on in this theme.
We'll try hard, because I don't like to change schedules in something. If nothing else, we could even pre-record if we need to. But as far as I'm concerned,
All right. Well, that's kind of a wrap tonight. Yep. We're going to just wish you the Lord's blessing and walk in His peace.
Amen.
God bless you. Have a good evening.